Hello, hello, and welcome. All right, good to have you all here. Thanks for joining. Welcome to the last session of Stream Day before we jump into the panel. So, if you are just tuning in now, you've already missed most of the content, but it is all recorded and you can go back and watch it later. I am Aaron Parecki. If you are new here, thanks for joining and welcome to the stream. John says one last session. It went so fast. I know it really did. It really did. I've been really enjoying all the sessions today. It's really nice. So what we're going to talk about today, let's do a couple of logistics before we start. If you do have a question for me, I will do questions throughout the session. Please start your message with the letter Q, and that filters it out on my screen so I can see it easier. That said, I am going to focus on questions related to the topic of today, which is streaming platforms, and I'll be primarily talking about YouTube. So if you have any questions about other things about the stream, how I'm running things, whatever, we'll save that for the panel discussion or my live stream on Sunday. So, but yeah, please feel free to drop in questions about things as we go. So we're going to talk about streaming platforms. So we've got a couple of things I want to cover today. Mainly talking about YouTube, but I do want to mention also that some of the other options out there. So streaming platform, what do I mean? What I mean by streaming platform is where people actually go and watch your videos, which is today YouTube. You are all watching this on YouTube, and there are other options. There's plenty of platforms out there, everything from DIY ones to just other things that are trying to be like YouTube. There's, of course, Facebook. I'm sure a bunch of people use Facebook. So there's a bunch of different reasons why you could choose different platforms. Of course, I use YouTube because that's where my main content is on YouTube. For client work, it's probably not the best option, frankly, unless they already have an established YouTube channel. And that's where you might start looking at other options. One that I want to briefly mention really quick before we start talking about the YouTube studio is one of the other ones I've been playing with, which is called Owncast. So Owncast is a open source live streaming platform, self-hosted. And the idea with Owncast is that you will, it's for one stream, it's for you to run a stream on your own website. So I've actually used this for a couple of different things. I have a stream of my 3D printer that I had running for a while. I've used it for some other projects I've done with other people. It is really meant to be a single user platform. What I mean by that is, like, you put it on at a URL, that's it. There is no like multiple different live streams on it. There's no multi-user account or anything. It's nice and simple like that. You can install it on your own server in your closet. You can put it on a cloud server, wherever it is. It doesn't really matter. Owncast.online is the website for that. So I want to show just a couple of quick things about this. This is a good option for using for, I think, like virtual conferences or client work. That said, there is no authentication. So all this, it is a public website. So if I send you over to, for example, my test instance at test.aaronpk.tv, then anybody who's there can see it. So I'm not streaming there right now, but I just dropped the link in the chat. And if you click on that, you will see my test instance. I also have one at live.aaronpk.tv, and this one works a little bit differently. If you click on that link, you may notice that it's actually asking you to log in first. So let me go do that in an incognito window and show you that. What that looks like is I just go to live.aaronpk.tv, visit that, and it says, actually, you need to log in first. And then I can go log in here, and it'll send me back. And then it will look like Owncast again. The way that works is I've actually put a reverse proxy in front of it to handle the authentication. That's super advanced. I'm not going to go into how to do that right now, but I just wanted to show you that because what it means is that you can use it in front of a thing that requires login to actually do live streams that require logging in. require an account somehow. So interesting notes. I think that is that there's some really interesting stuff you can do with that. A couple other notes on Owncast. Again, I mentioned it's single user, so it's really just like if you push the video there, you'll be live. Now that I have this running, if I go into I need to turn off that so I don't share my stream key. If I go into my A10 Mini Extreme and click on air, then what we will see is in a couple of seconds, the video feed will show up here. And my A10 Mini Extreme is not the one doing the show to YouTube right now, so I can use it for pushing out to Owncast. This is like, if there is video received at the stream key, then it is live. So it's really nice and simple, which is a big contrast to what I'm about to show you in YouTube. So yeah, here we are with the feed. Now it may be, I don't know why it's buffering. My setup is not great for that. Point is, it is so simple, as in there are no real options to it. So it looks like somebody else jumped in and found the login, so that's cool. So with that out of the way, I want to move on to YouTube, because YouTube is where things get interesting, and there's a lot of options in the YouTube Studio, a lot of which I feel like people don't know about how they all work, and we're going to dive into that. Oh, Joe says, is Owncast what you used for the Auth0? It was actually Okta conference, but yes, it was the Okta conference, and we had a self-hosted live stream for the whole second day of events there, and it worked really well, I think. Okay, so we are going to, just looking at the chat here. Oh, have you tried a self-hosted instance of open source video platform PeerTube? I've run up a virtual server of DigitalOcean. No, I haven't actually played with that one myself. It also looks pretty interesting. Although I don't think they do streaming, if I'm correct. I believe it's only for pre-recorded videos. I might be wrong on that. Okay, so what I also want to talk about is YouTube, because there's a lot of options in here. This is the YouTube Studio, and this is where things get a little bit messy. I want to walk you through the process of actually creating a live stream in YouTube and looking at all the options we get in here. And I'm going to actually do this live, which is, of course, a little bit risky, but that's what we're here for. So if you go to the YouTube Studio, the main YouTube Studio, like studio.youtube.com, you get taken to this page, which is the light mode interface, and you get this little button up here called Go Live. If you click on that, it takes you into this totally separate interface, and you can recognize it because it's in dark gray. This is where you go to actually set up your live streams and do things like scheduling them or changing all those settings and actually going live. So start by clicking Schedule Stream. One of the first things you can do is reuse settings from a previous stream, which is actually very useful because, as we will see, a lot of settings in here. But I'm going to create one from scratch, because then we can set everything up manually. I'll just call this test stream. This is, of course, the YouTube description. Most of this page is the same as you would get when you're uploading a video, so not a lot of things to talk about here. Put in a playlist, add a thumbnail, etc., etc. This is where you get to check the paid promotion box if you want, and all the other. Okay, those are all just like the default options that you get for uploaded videos too. Monetization. This one is worth calling out because, as we've seen throughout today, if you have the skippable and non-skippable video ads on and someone joins your stream, they may be presented with an ad at the beginning before they can actually watch live, which is a little bit awkward when we're trying to hop people between all these channels the whole time. So I've turned those off for this stream that you're watching, so you should not have got an ad at the beginning. I'll turn them back on later after we're done with the live part of the day. So choose that. Now we start getting into some of the live stream specific settings. So this is, oh, thank you for the reminder. Finding it difficult to read the screens because my screen is, I need to make it bigger so you can actually read what's on here. We'll do this. Thank you. Cool. And yeah, if you can't see the text on here, make sure you're watching this in 1080, because YouTube will sometimes scale you back down and show you a lower bit rate. So, okay. So a couple of things I want to call out in this screen. Live chat. If you want people to be able to chat live, then click that button. Live chat replay means I always have that on because I like it when people are watching the replay of the live stream that they can also see the chat that went along with it. One other thing to know about the live chat replay, if you ever go back and edit the live stream, as in trim it or do any of the, like if you blur out a face or something, that will unlink the live chat from it. So you totally lose the replay. So that's one thing to keep in mind about the replay. But otherwise, I like to have that on for my streams. This is who can send messages, anyone or subscribers. I have had, I believe I set this one to anybody, so hopefully we don't get spammers today, but I've definitely had spam happen when the participant mode is set to anybody because people will just drive by, see a live stream, and then just drop random stuff in the chat. Turning this on to even just 5 minutes seems to have done a very good job of keeping spammers away just because they just get bored and they don't want to wait 5 minutes before they can spam. So keep that in mind, a useful technique. Similarly, if you're in a really, really big live stream, much bigger than this one is, turning this on can help keep the chat manageable. But thankfully, these live streams that I do are not so busy that we can't keep the chat just open. So I will keep that off. This is new, this redirect feature. This is it used to be that you could only redirect people to your own videos, and now you can actually redirect people to other channels. This is relatively new. So you have to go and let people redirect to you in your own settings first, and then their videos will show up. So after this, like we're going to go head over to the panel. So I can say, yeah, we're going to redirect to the panel after this one. The trailer is also a useful feature to be able to, when people land on I should have set this up ahead of time. When people land on your live stream before you're live, this will play. And you can actually go and just choose another video. So I can be like, here, I'll be like, here's my little YOLO box stand. Okay, so we're going to do that. 18 seconds long. It's probably, I should have done something more like a minute, whatever. So then that's the last setting here. That means when you land on the page before I've gone live, that video will play. So how can you redirect to your own videos or if you have more than one stream? So yeah, in the redirect setting, basically you just get to choose any of your other live streams here will show up. I don't have any others scheduled right now, so that's why this is the only one that shows up. Or other channels is people who I subscribe to. If they've turned on that setting, then I can redirect to theirs. Okay, so we're going to keep that. And then we are going to go to the next page, which is visibility. This, again, is just like uploading a video. So private, unlisted, members only, or public. I'm going to make this one unlisted because one of the things that making it public does is YouTube will start pushing the thumbnail out to your subscribers' homepages as soon as you've scheduled it, which means if you make it public, and if I actually do this, it would then start showing up as an upcoming event. I'm going to make it unlisted. That way it doesn't do that to people. Schedule. This one people get very confused about, and I feel like people think this does more than it actually does. Let me just put it that way. So scheduling the stream. Obviously, it's important to like choose when you're going to go live to give people an idea. You can just go live out of the blue, but it's a good idea to schedule it that way. Again, if you make it public, the thumbnail will appear even before you're live in people's feed so that they can click the I'm interested button. So if I schedule this for May 25th, and let's choose like 2:00 p.m., that's when the stream is going to end. A couple of things about this. One, this is always in your browser time zone. This has messed me up a few times as I'm traveling, because if I'm traveling in another time zone and I'm scheduling a stream for when I'm back, I have to do the math to set it to the converted time. So browser time. Just remember it's browser time. And the other thing about this is that scheduling this stream does basically nothing. All it really does is it shows the time on the video about when you are ready to go live. So we're going to do that. It's unlisted. Good. Okay. And now I'm going to go and actually visit this page to show you what that did. So we're going to go and actually click on this. I didn't put a thumbnail, so I used the default channel artwork. this little set reminder button, this is all the scheduling does. All it does is it says a time here, has a countdown, and then it gives you this button. It has nothing to do with actually going live or nothing to do with your video. So this will be like, YouTube may start prioritizing showing it in feeds differently depending on how far out it is, whatever magic they want to do. But that's all it does. It's basically cosmetic only. Okay. So keep that in mind because the next part about this of actually going live is gonna be different. So that's created. Now you get dropped into this, and I should make this. This is what it normally looks like when my screen is the right size. But I'm going to zoom in so you can actually read it. Let's do, let's do this. So okay. Now your thumbnail's created. People can start clicking the little reminder button. When people have the bell notification turned on, YouTube doesn't actually reliably send out notifications to everybody. So the only one that's like the most reliable is actually clicking this. I get the trailer. Is actually getting this set reminder. If you click on that, you are much more likely to actually get a notification when the person goes live. Okay, so now we're going to start running through some of these options. And I am keeping an eye on the chat. Make sure if you have any questions about this stuff, I will try to answer them. So, stream keys. You can have multiple stream keys created on an account. It's really useful for doing things like putting different stream keys in different encoders. I have one here called Web Presenter, which is then from the Web Presenter that key is plugged into that device. I have a different one in my A10 Mini Extreme, for example. So we'll use the default one. That's just the one that is created on the account. That's where I can actually find the stream key. The stream latency is another important setting here. So normal latency, I actually normally do mine in ultra low. And that's what we're doing right now. What that does is it means you're going to be seeing me only about 2 seconds late compared to when I'm broadcasting, which does a couple of things. So it means that my internet has to be much more reliable because I've only got 2 seconds of wiggle room. If my signal drops out for more than 2 seconds, you're going to see buffering. If I go normal latency, I can go longer before catching up, and then it can try to push that data up to catch up back to real time. The other thing this does is the only way you can do the automatic captions is if you're in normal latency. So normal latency means you can turn on automated captions from YouTube. And then the other thing about here is, so normal latency is, I think it's like around 30-ish seconds, but it depends on other factors. Also, if you're pushing up 4K, you can't use ultra low. So 4K only works in normal and low. But I usually do ultra low because I stream in HD, and I like the live interaction. I see somebody found that URL. Good job. And drop something in the chat there. Congratulations. So, okay, the other confusing one in here that I feel like people often forget about is the 2 auto settings. Auto start and auto stop. Really, really, really important. Auto start means as soon as you start pushing data to this stream key, it will go live. It will automatically start going live. If you have that off, it will not automatically go live. And in fact, the only way to go live, even if you're already pushing video, is to actually click the big go live button. Let me pop over to my ATEM and start pushing data from that. I forgot I was still pushing to my live. Okay, I'm going to stream to YouTube from my A10 Mini Extreme, and then we can actually see this work. So I just started streaming from the ATEM. It's going to say excellent connection. It's going to take a couple of seconds, and eventually the interface will sort of catch up. This is very, very unreliable. This does not always work. Sometimes you need to refresh this page before the go live button appears. It's just a YouTube thing. Don't think too much about it. So because I did not have auto start enabled, this stream is not actually live. I can see the preview, but if you're watching this on YouTube, you won't see anything right now until I actually press the go live button. Really, really important. The same with auto stop. If auto stop is, so actually let's do this. Let's go live. We are, this is going to take a few seconds again. YouTube's doing its thing. Now it's actually live on YouTube. Now, same works in reverse for auto stop. If I stop pushing data right now because auto stop is turned off, nothing happens. Like, there's obviously not going to be any video that you're going to see, but the it'll still appear live. As in, if you go to YouTube, like your homepage, and find my page, this one's unlisted, so it's not going to do it. But like it would, you know, this one, the one that you're actually watching now is live. You'll get this live icon, whether or not there's video pushed to it. So if I stop pushing video and forget to actually click the end stream button, people are going to keep seeing this live for a while later. Eventually, YouTube will give up, but it'll be a lot longer than you want. And on their homepage, it may show up in like as a thumbnail too. So to actually stop the stream, you have to click the actual end stream button. And we're not going to do that yet. If auto stop is turned on, then as soon as you drop the stop pushing data to it, not as soon as, but within a couple of seconds of stopping your streaming encoder, then YouTube will actually click the end stream button. The reason I don't have this turned on most of the time is because of the risk of auto stop triggering. If my encoder dies for some reason, I don't want it to end the stream, because once that stream is ended, that's it. Like, that link is done. You can't go back to it. And because of the way that YouTube works, like, every live stream is a video. That's how the replay works. But that means if you've like got scheduled tweets or like are about to post about it somewhere or whatever, if you've accidentally ended your stream, all those links are going to go to the old video and you have to recreate it. So I always leave my auto stop turned off, and then I have to actually go and manually click the end stream button when I'm ready. But that way I know that's the only way it'll end. Okay. Other things in here, I'm not going to go through all the settings because I do want to make sure we have time for everything I want to get to. DVR, though, this is if you want people to be able to scroll back in time on the stream. If you want people to only watch live, you can uncheck that. And then we talked about captions. So captions only work on normal latency. You have to turn them on ahead of time also, which I did not do in this one. And then you can also automatically unlist it when the stream ends, which is kind of cool as well. Okay. Oh, question here. Does the ultra low latency affect the chat performance response too? Not exactly. What it means is that there's like a little bit of time travel that goes on. So if I'm in ultra low latency and I'm watching the chat, then because you're only seeing me about 2 seconds behind, we're basically in sync. And if I post something in chat, you will see it probably at the right time. Like, for example, I can say, what I'm going to do is say in the chat, I'm going to type the words now, and I'm going to send that when I say the words now. So I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, now. So you probably saw that in the chat before I said it because of the time delay feature. Now imagine that, but 30 seconds. So if you're in normal latency, then the time between me doing stuff in the chat and you actually seeing the video is now like 30 seconds. So you will appear to be ahead of the stream if you are interacting with the chat. So that's the deal there. Okay, good question though. Yeah, auto stop is risky regardless of the tool you use for streaming. I agree. So yeah, don't use auto stop, risky when streaming. Exactly. Eric says, yes, saw it 1 second prior to hearing it. That makes sense. So maybe we're at only 1 second today, or the chat has a second delay, either one. Okay, so couple other things about the YouTube Studio that are worth noting. Analytics is where you get to see who's watching or how many people are watching the chat. I can go over to the real one over here, and we've got the nice little graph showing the live viewers. And this is more or less like, these numbers aren't going to agree. It's weird. They don't agree. Don't read too much into it. YouTube is bad at counting. So it's a rough idea. I've literally never used the viewer activity tab, but that's because I have my own chat mechanism for it. In this one, yeah, it's only for showing super chats or members. And then stream health is another weird one. This is where you're going to get notices about like whether YouTube thinks your bitrate is too low or too high, both ways. And the messages that you get in there are sometimes just wrong. Sometimes it's fine and YouTube just complains. So again, I try not to worry too much if I've got yellow notices around here, red notices, whatever it is, and I just use it, take it with a grain of salt, I guess. Okay, yeah, and this is actually to the point about using ATEMs and web presenters. I think somebody asked a question earlier. The web presenter and the ATEM use variable bitrate encoding, which means I'm streaming at 6 megabits, but depending on what I'm showing on the screen, it may be more or less than that. YouTube doesn't necessarily like that. So if I switch to just a still graphic, the bitrate will drop because it doesn't need to use all the data. And then YouTube might complain about the low bitrate. So when I'm ready to actually end the stream, I will usually put up a graphic first and then click end stream. So this is how you would then actually end. This will then redirect to whoever's you've put in there. Okay, hopefully I ended the right stream. Oh, good. I had a little moment there. I was like, what if I ended the real stream? Cool. And now it says people are going over to watch that. So last little thing I want to mention in here, since we have only a couple more minutes, is about stream URLs. So you may notice you have two, right? Your stream URL and your backup server URL. So this lets you do a couple of interesting things. First rule is only ever push one data feed to a stream URL for one stream key. So this stream key is for this live stream. If I make a separate, like a second live stream, I can use a separate stream key, that's fine, but only push one data stream to each stream URL, the live or the backup, for a particular stream key. If you don't, things are going to get confusing, unreliable, undetermined. The thing you can do with this though, is you can actually use your backup URL as a way to back up in case your main encoder goes down, but also I've used this for if I'm remote, if I'm streaming from a remote location, I can actually push from my studio to the backup URL, put up just a graphic that says offline, and as long as the primary URL is fine, you will only see the primary feed. They can be different videos. They don't have to be the same video. They do have to match the same bitrate, but they don't have to be the same video. So you can use that to your advantage and actually push different things to the different URLs. Big thing to keep in mind is YouTube will only ever fail over if the current thing goes off the air. So if your main stream dies, it'll switch to the backup. It will not switch back to the main one. You have to kill your backup URL for it to flip back to the main URL. So doing the off-air graphic is kind of a fun trick for that, but think about other creative ways you could use it. We only have a couple of seconds left. So any questions in here before we kick over to the big panel to wrap this up? I will, of course, be back here on Sunday with my normal show, so feel free to come back on Sunday and ask more questions. We can get more into the back end of this setup. Otherwise, this has been fun, and I will see you all on the panel. So let's go ahead and bring up the music, bring up the outro. Looking forward to it, and yeah, see you on the discussion panel. I'm gonna have to go switch over to Zoom really quick, so we'll see how that goes. And this has been fun. Yeah, all right. See you all in a minute.